You're watching Cover to Cover, our guide to the Sikh and Punjabi books that you need to read. This week, our book is The Sikhs of the Punjab by Joyce Pettigrew. But before we look at that, let's hear from another one of our viewers telling us about one of their favourite books.
One of my favourite texts at the moment is Unspeakable Things by Laurie Penny. It's a relatively new feminist text that only came out last year. But the reason why I would say this is one of my favourite books at the moment is because it takes into account things that essentialist feminism sometimes ignores. So it looks at gender issues like victim blaming, like issues of masculinity, like general sexism, catcalling, and all those sorts of things, but it looks at it from the perspective of including things such as race, ethnicity, class, religion, and sees how those things also impact feminism. The title itself, Unspeakable Things, I think it says quite a lot, because what Laurie Penny is trying to do is create a narrative about things that essentially we consider unthinkable or unspeakable, and we don't talk about, and she's trying to create this narrative and essentially create a voice to things that we don't normally talk about. So the reason why I want people to read this book is because I think what we've done is created the word feminism or feminist as such a negative, dirty term, and what this book has done is made it so relative to everybody, regardless of what age you are, if you're a man or a woman, if you're black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter. What she's done is made all those issues relative and relatable to everybody. So if you're interested in feminism or gender politics, I definitely recommend this book.
The Sikhs of the Punjab, Unheard Voices of State and Guerrilla Violence is a book by Joyce M. Pettigrew, an anthropologist from Scotland. This book was published first by Z Books in 1995 and has since gone out of print. Unfortunately, the book is no longer available on the wider market, but it can still be found on Amazon and also by contacting the publisher Z Books directly. In this book, the author has explored what took place in the Punjab from 1984, the post-invasion of Darbar Sahib era, right up until 1992 and a tiny bit beyond up until the point of publishing. The first part is titled The Sikhs of Punjab, Place and People Since 1984, which sets the scene and talks about what has actually taken place. The secondary part is titled Children of Waheguru and deals with the rebels themselves, the Sikh freedom fighters. What has made this book so fascinating is that the author took the time to go out and speak directly to members of the Sikh freedom movement, people who were fighting against the state. She also spoke to a number of members of the armed forces, the police force that were fighting back against them. She uses reports that were available, the words chronicled of ministers, of politicians, to set the scene, to set a picture of what's actually taking place. The interviews provide a great deal of credibility to the book and showcase the freedom struggle in a way that the newspapers and broadcast media of the time were not doing. At the end of the book, we have an index and a bibliography. The index is kind of as you'd expect, with a number of key terms that repeat throughout the book again and again. But it's the bibliography that for me is really interesting in this book, because it contains so many different research reports, newspaper articles, and journal papers that are of interest for this kind of subject matter. In addition to this, we find two appendices at the back. The first one is a poem that has been transliterated into English, or interpreted really, by one Gurtej Singh Brar, and the second appendix consists of 4 different advertisements that were taken out in national newspapers following the murder of a leading Sikh freedom fighter, General Laurie Penny. They are put in English, but actually explain the level of support that the Sikh freedom movement had at the time of General Laurie Penny's assassination. This is one of the reasons why The Sikhs of the Punjab by Joyce Pettigrew is one of the most fascinating books that anybody interested in the Sikh freedom struggle or what took place in South Asia post-1984 must have on their bookshelves. But we want to know what you think, so please drop us a comment below and let us know what you think of The Sikhs of the Punjab by Joyce Pettigrew. Join us again for another edition of Cover to Cover, our guide to the Sikh and Punjabi books that you need to read.